If you're here for the books, I shall see you over at my other channel, Two Mice on My Bookshelf, link down below, as well as on my channel banner. If you're here to check out my tarot collection for sale, I shall see you on Instagram, my collection for sale. Now, for the rest of you, I have here with me a comparison of 3 Albano Waite tarot deck. These are the one colored by Frankie Albano, who's disappeared completely from the face of the planet. If anyone know there is any information on what happened to him, please let us know on the comment section down below. So these two are the original tarot cards, tarot productions. Frankie Albano's Albano Waite tarot was produced originally in 1968 by Tarot Productions Incorporated. Here it says P.O. Box 46265, Los Angeles, California 90046, and it has 650 there. And this one here is the one with instruction. This was a kind gift of a fellow collector who's not on YouTube. This one here is also the new color edition. Forgot to mention, these two are both new color edition. I do not have the other edition, which I believe is an earlier called Deluxe, I think. So this one here does not include instructions. This is also by Tarot Production 1968. Over there, the same particulars there. P.O. Box 46265, Los Angeles, California 90046. Let me just see. Yep, printed in the USA. Tarot Production, copyright 1968. Now, very quickly, the way I know if it is truly Tarot Productions from 1968 is to check out the edges of the cards, and you'll see something like, oops, sorry. I'm just trying to adjust something here. You'll see something, this little stubbles there, which a byproduct of, you see those little stubbles? Those are a byproduct of their cutting mechanism, whatever it is that they do to cut the cards back in 1968, back in the USA, or I think that's what it says, printed, is that right? Yeah, printed in the USA. Not necessarily in California, even though Tarot Productions is based in California. So, so these two, I presume, will have the same cardstock, but will they? Now, we will find out soon. So this one here is one I obtained on eBay without the box. There's no copyright on the cards, and it was sold as Tarot Productions 1968 edition, and of course, this isn't. This is not so. So this is actually estimated to be US Games is potentially late 1980s, early 1990s. And how do we know this? We know this because the suit of coins here, or the court cards of the suit of coins here, look very gray. Frankie Albano's Albano Waite original printing by Tarot Production 1968 should be lilac, like the one on the right there. So I have a video comparing colors between this one here, and at the time I did not have these two decks over here, so I used as a proxy of Tarot Productions standard color from 1968 a mini version of the Albano Waite by Tarot Production Incorporated from 1968, but very, very small. So I will link that video either up here or at the end of this video. So let's start with perhaps comparing these two, which I suspect will not. So these two, I suspect, should be the same, but I remember thinking they're not the same at all. So this one here, as you can see, is obviously quite worn. It's exposed to the sun, so the color have bleached. This one here is in a better condition. It's white. It's yellow. It's still pretty bright there. This one's completely worn. And I'm not quite sure if that price is the original 1968 price or the price that was, I have no idea. But it's an interesting story there with that price on there. So now I have to be careful not to confuse the two. So this one here is from here. So I'll leave that up there. And this one here is in a new condition. And I noticed that the glide across the cards are much better. So there's less friction here. As you can see here, I'm doing that quite easily. On this one, on the other hand, it could be that the lamination is sprayed onto it, onto the cards, onto the cardstock, and perhaps due to use, that lamination have been worn out, and so they're not as smooth gliding across each other. I could feel some resistance there. So I can't say whether that is a function of wear or whether it's a function of the cardstock as designed in 1968. So that's this one with instruction here. And remember, both are the new color edition. Both are the new color edition. So I'll put this in. How about I put this back in here so that not to confuse myself, because I think I've done that once with the Visconti's 4, so I think I've confused some of the cards. I ended up returning it to the wrong box, and that was quite disastrous. So let's start with this first. So this one is here. Let me just do that. And this one is here. Okay. So again, this is the one with the booklet, and I think the variety is not so much edition variety. I suspect it's a printing batch variety. So I don't think they're by design. But this one here seems a lot darker, the yellow, even though this is the worn deck here. As you can see, a lot of wear and tear there. So again, the one that I have here, the yellow of the one with the booklet, is a lot darker. Other than that, everything else is the same. So the blue on the with the booklet is more blue, as you can see there, while the one without the instruction, both supposedly both the new color edition by Terra Production, which I believe only produced in 1968. If you know that any differently, please comment down below. That's a little bit purple. As you can see, this one's a bit more blue. Trying to give you a bit more light there. So again, darker yellow on the edition with the instruction booklet, both by Terra Production. And if we can assume that Terra Production only produced or published in 1968, then both of these would have been from 1968. Again, please comment down below if you know any different. And again, here is darker on the used with instruction edition, and the left is the more unused set of cards that I have here. The back's the same. Here, not much difference that I can tell. The cardstock's quite similar, and the back is the same. Again, the left is the Terra Production New Color Edition without booklet, and the right is Terra Production 1968 with booklet. And so it's just color calibration between printing batches, I suppose. So the one on the right with the booklet is the used, in a used condition, very used, while the left without the booklet, both new color, both Terra Production 1968. So the one on the left, the one without a booklet, is the one that I obtained in a very good condition. And so the hue on the purple of the angel there is slightly different, slightly colder on the right, slightly warmer on the left. So once again, the left is the edition without the booklet, and one which I obtained in a much better condition compared to the right with booklet and in a rather worn condition. Again, the yellow is darker, so that's quite interesting. Overall, it's basically darker there. Again, I'm not going to go through the minors. I'm just going to go through the majors, just to manage the length of this video, and then I will try to compare these with the US Games pre-copyright, which we estimated to be late 80s, early 90s. So how about we do that right now? So we'll go to 9. The cardstock's definitely different. So that's the color is even lighter there. So the cardstock feels much better. This is a bit more waxy. It's a soft, what you call satin finish. While this one here is a little bit, what's the word? Pert. It's like somebody sprayed the cards with hairspray. That kind of consistency. So on the extreme left-hand side is US Games pre-copyright, late 80s, early 90s. In the middle is Terra Production 1968 New Color Edition without booklet. And on the right here, Terra Production New Color 1968 with booklet in a very worn condition. And I say very worn condition because sometimes the appearance can be a function of time and wear instead of a function of design and production. Where are we here? Yep. So the only one that's pristine is the one in the middle, the Terra Production 1968 without booklet. The one on the right and on the left are heavily worn condition. I obtained them, I acquired them in a heavily worn condition. Cardstock's different, as you can see there. Again, Terra Productions in the middle and on the right there looks and feels like it's been sprayed by something. And on the extreme left there is worn. It's very much satin, not almost like naked satin, a bit like Rider Blue Box AGM Vintage 1970s, early 70s, but not quite. Is that here? Yeah, okay. We have to be very, very careful here, otherwise it can get really confusing. So I'm actually quite fascinated that the one with the booklet is the brightest. And so the red are quite similar between the middle, which is Terra Production without booklet, new edition, new color 1968. And the left there is pre-copyright US Games, late 80s, early 90s. But the blue is slightly different. The blue slightly washed out on the US Games, late 80s, early 90s, pre-copyright on the left there. And the strongest, both blue and red, of course, is the right-hand side, the heavily used Terra Production 1968 New Color Edition with booklet. One more time with the cardstock there, you can see. And the one on the right, Terra Production 1968 with booklet, new color edition, is very has a lot more friction when you slide the cards around against each other. The smoothest, or the one in the middle, the 1968 Terra Production new color edition, hasn't been used, is sliding around. Even though it's same lamination there, it slides around much better compared to its compared to this one here. And this one is a completely different production. It's like 20 years down the track, this one, and you can see the color is not the best, but again, pre-copyright there, and so the estimation is late 80s, early 90s. And unlike US Games's standard Rider-Waite Smith, their earliest pre-copyright edition for the Albano Waite is not, doesn't feel like it's the same cardstock compared to AGM's cardstock. A.G. Mueller, who printed for the earlier editions pre-copyright for the standard Rider-Waite Smith for both Rider and US Games. So I have never owned US Games's Albano Waite, and this one here is the only one I have without copyright, and I don't have the box. So any of you have the box of US Games's Albano Waite pre-copyright like this one, perhaps the box might be able to give us a clue in terms of where and when and who printed the cards here. So I would love to know that. If you could post that down below if you have that information. And again, the coloring is this one here is not too different. Still a lot stronger on the used version, which is quite amazing to me. That so this one here is with the instruction edition. Now again, just because my printing batch shows this doesn't mean that if you get the same edition, the coloring is the same. We don't know how printing process was back in the day, and how they calibrate colors and all that between batches, between printing batches, so we don't know. So again, the wings of the devil there is a bit more colder, a bit more purplish. It has this sort of blue hue, while the other two is a bit reddish undertone, and the body of the devil is slightly darker on the right here. New color, Terra Production 1968 with booklet, and the one in the middle, Terra Production 1968, new color without booklet. And so it's kind of minute, really. It's really quite minute. Some of them are more apparent than others. These ones are quite minute. So just slight hue. The most obvious is the primary colors, the blues, the greens, the reds, the yellows. So this is another one that's not that much difference, really. It's just the lamination there, just showing you a little bit. This is the blue. This blue is a little bit more faded green, and this one is the most intense. So it's quite consistent with the colors. Appear more saturated in the, at least my copy of it. So again, in printing process and in 68 would have been slightly different than the digitized version of our printing today. So I'm making an educated guess that there'll be more varieties within, between printing batches. So the blue here is a little bit more purplish. This is the US Games pre-copyright late 80s, early 90s. I don't have the box, so I don't have any more information other than that. This blue is a little bit more blue, and that feels a bit more faded. It's just more saturated overall. So I think that's the conclusion. So we're going to speed through here, because otherwise I'll be repeating myself, saying over and over again that the 1968 Terra Production with booklet edition that's quite worn here seems to be more saturated. And I'm going to show you the purple versus the lilac, the lilac versus the gray of US Games is. So again, this difference is minute at this point. It's just saturation and hues, really. Again, the blue, you can see there, the blue is more saturated. And then in the middle there, and then the most kind of less so in the US Games. Late 80s, early 90s pre-copyright edition there. And these two, middle and on the right, is Terra Production 1968 on the right with booklet, in the middle without booklet. Again, I do confirm if Terra Production published this at any other time other than 1968. So what you see there, at least on my lenses, are quite representative of what I see with my own two eyes. I'm not quite sure how these colors will translate on your own screen. So this is how the purple looks like. And so this is from the one with instruction here. I'll show you the booklet later on. So as you can see here, as I said, it slides really quite easily, while this one here, that one there, doesn't slide as well because it's been used. So these two are quite the same. I have to say the one in the middle here is slightly, just ever so slightly grayish. So I have to be very careful not to mix. So this is definitely gray, like you wouldn't believe, right? And then so yeah, so actually, interestingly, the Albano Waite 1968 production, a new color without the booklet, it's just slightly, you can't tell, but ever slightly so gray. That surprised me somehow, I don't know why. And then Queen. And lastly, the King. I am so afraid of confusing these decks. So now these two are left, sorry, this one here and the one in the middle, these aren't too different, but you could really tell US Games' version is very gray. Okay, that's it. And oh, really quickly, the booklet. I'll show you the booklet. Yeah, there you go. Did somebody say that Albano Waite or Frankie Albano is the first to use this little booklet like this? I suppose I would argue that Ryder and Co. or Ryder and Sons, or of the first edition Rider Waite Smith, using with the little booklet that is the little book that is A.E. Waite's Pictorial Key to the Tarot, which is included in the box of the Rider Waite Smith deck in the early 1900s, would have been the first to include a little booklet. So I don't know, I guess it depends on your definition of booklet. I suppose the first edition from, you know, the Rider Waite Smith, that's kind of a mini book, that's a whole book, a Pictorial Key to the Tarot, the whole book is included in the box, and this is more of a booklet, such as, you know, sort of this. So I suppose if your definition of a booklet is something like this, then yeah. Okay, that's it. Talk to you later. Bye.